Many years ago, I used to work in the defense business before I started working with the private sector. And our company did operations analysis, training development, various things like that. One of our clients, the Navy, asked us one day to come down and look at the training systems at Indian Head. Does anybody know what Indian Head is? It has nothing to do with the oranges. Is that nuclear? It's actually what Indian Head does. R&D, they do training and things related to explosives, ordnance. So they handle all the guys that are dealing with that. They thought they had a faulty training system because they would put the guys through the training, then they would send them out on the ships and they couldn't perform. So we sent one of our guys down there, who shall remain nameless, and he did analysis, looked at the system, came back, he filed his report, and he said, your training system's beautiful, it's wonderful. The guys go through it, they're able to perform beautifully on the base. So what's going on? Where's the breakdown? It had to be out somewhere on the ship. So he came back, went back down there, followed the recruits out to the ship. And lo and behold, what he observed was the standard procedure for all new recruits going out to the ship was to put them for several months doing menial work, scrubbing the decks, peeling potatoes, doing anything but what they were trained to do. So needless to say, by the time they got to handling the ordnance, they had forgotten the training, or they were rusty at best. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a training issue after all. It happened to have been a management issue. Now, and as you all know, the typical response so many times when you have performance or problems in a company or operations is training. Everybody turns to training. And unfortunately, that's not often the case. What that does is it blinds people to the true cause of the problem and the true solutions. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you cannot look at problems, you cannot look at your problems in isolation. Most people have this silo effect. You have to look at the process from a total systems perspective. Because if the Navy had just gone in and said, come in and fix our training, they would have spent millions of dollars. Boy, we would love to have had it, but it wouldn't have addressed the problem. So what I'd like you to do today is think about what are some of the problems in the organizations where you work? And are they impeding perhaps your competitive advantage? And do you think you know what the answers are? How to fix it? Well, maybe you do and maybe you don't. The purpose of the presentation today is we're going to look at some tools and some techniques that maybe can help you sort it out. And the way we're going to do that is through a process simulation that I call crumble, roll, tear, and toss. Now, you all have this process in your companies, or wherever it is, in your home, you all have this process somewhere. You may call it something different, but it's there. And I'm going to call it, in the business, my niche industry, it's a sales proposal process. So you can relate this to your own business. You may have that as well. And the way this works is, all processes start with an input. And I'm going to represent that input by a sheet of paper. So in the RFP process, we will get some information from the prospect. We do something with it to get it in a shape that we can share with others. So I'm going to represent that by just crumbling this piece of paper up. Then I'm going to pass it along to somebody else, the next person in the step, who's going to be credit review. And I'm going to simulate that by just tossing it to somebody very good. So in the audience, you, credit review, we're going to simulate you doing your process by you just roll it around in your hands a little bit. That's okay, very good. Then you're going to pass it to the next person for review, underwriting review. So simulate by tossing just so there you go. Okay, Lynette, was it?
Yes.
Okay, Lynette, you are going to be doing the underwriting. Now, underwriting is you have to really get into the guts of the company. So of the prospect. So you're going to simulate doing that by opening this back up, tearing off two corners, tear off two corners, then roll it back up again. Okay, that's your underwriting view. And once you've done your underwriting, you've seen that it's a good and okay to go, you're going to pass it to the salesperson so they can present to that prospect. So go ahead and pass it to us. There you go, salesperson. Now, salesperson, you are going to present it to the prospect. So what you're going to simulate that just by tossing it in the air. It's like juggling prospects. They know how to do it very well. So, okay, very good. Once you've done that, you present it to the prospect, pass it on to your prospect, so toss it to somebody else. And your, very good. And your prospect, when you get it, you just set it, it's your output. That's your final output. So you just set it on the table in front of you, like probably many prospects do after you go through this and give them your information. Just set it there. All right? So.
That's my Quicken loan.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be it. It's a loan process. Think of it as a mortgage, a loan processing.
There for 5 months.
I did the best I could, okay? Get on me.
Okay, that's my purchase order. That's a vital piece of inventory.
Very good.
That impacts every.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's the toner for a very special piece of equipment that is ruined every day. Okay.
Okay, very good. Okay, so you've got it related. So,
Wow.
Crumble wheelchair test. Now we've got it down. What we're going to do now is we're going to run 5 proposals through this simulation. It's going to go to the same people. You've got the same function that you're going to do with each one. And we're going to go through as fast as we can. The rest of you, you just want to watch. I want you to observe what happens here. And I'd like to have somebody time it. Do you have, Jennifer, are you, oh, somebody have a timer? Okay.
Is this batch processing or single processing?
You have to decide. You do. We'll see. That's an excellent question.
I'm gonna peek.
We're down to somebody else.
We'll see. We'll see. Let's see how it goes. This is all the information I'm going to give you at this stage.
Tell me when
Okay.
it started and then tell me when it stopped.
Okay. Are you guys ready to begin? Okay. Ready. Okay. 1. Don't too fast. Is that fine?
Proposal always bites the dust.
All right. Is that it?
Okay, that was 54 seconds.
Oh, really? 54 seconds. Okay.
We're good.
Very good. Actually, let's assume that that was 3 minutes. Otherwise, it's going to throw my whole presentation. Let's assume it took 3 minutes.
That was 3 minutes and 54
Yeah.
I'm sorry, how much?
I did it wrong. 2 minutes and 54.
Okay, good.
We're gonna pull it up.
A well-trained group.
A large margin of error.
Hey, Gina, just let Jim know what you want.
No.
Time is gonna be.
All right. So it took us almost 3 minutes to do that process. But our customer wants it a lot faster than that. They expect us to do it in just 1 minute.
Good grief.
So what we have here is an improvement opportunity. Now, how might you go about approaching an improvement opportunity like this? What would you do? What do you think might be one of your first steps?
Look at your process.
Excellent. That is an excellent, but even before you do that, one of the first things you need to do is you need to very clearly define that opportunity in quantitative terms. it's not enough just to say, I want to go faster. I want to improve my process, go faster. You need to do it in quantitative terms. So we want to reduce the ball processing time to 1 minute. Because by having a very clear goal, quantitatively we can measure and track and make sure we're going to improve. So next, having defined that opportunity, then the next step would be,
Improve it.
no, you look at your process.
Oh,
Come on, sounds like.
look at your process.
Yeah.
Hey, Gina, it's this, backwards.
Yeah, backwards, yeah, roll back. You know, just like the Navy did, they ended up looking at the process. All right, so when you start to look at a process, when you're defining a process, a good place to start is by asking a question, what am I trying to produce? What's the output? So given our process here, what was our output?
5 balls.
A ball. We were trying to produce the
File
balls.
over there.
Exactly. So we were trying to produce the paper ball. The next question might be, this is what you're outputting. Who are you outputting this? Who are you providing this product for?
Sales.
Okay, we were providing it for, but who was sales? Who was the ultimate recipient here? Customer, yeah, the customer in that case. So our customer was the final recipient, but we also had these interim customers within the process as well. My customer, when I provided the paper, was to Tom, I'm sorry, forgive me, Tom. And Tom, your customer credit was the underwriting, so you also had these little intermediary people that were involved in the process, and they were customers as well.
Internal customers.
Internal customers,
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, and thank you, please, do not hesitate to correct me, those of you who are in this industry, if I'm using improper terminology. One of the things I'm looking for is a way, I want to improve this process meeting, so please feel free to hop in and correct me. Yeah, yes ma'am. Oh, look at all these hands going up. Wow, this already.
It's easy to criticize it. It's easy to edit the book after it's written.
Yes.
It's brilliant, I have to tell you. It is brilliant. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Well, okay, thank you.
But here's the biggest, okay,
Go
the
ahead.
biggest problem, I'm a consultant too, innovative quality research, by the way, quality. The biggest problem in every business, regardless of the size, everybody knows, is communication. And I call that the big C.
Okay, wonderful.
And one of the problems is, pardon me, men, I insist everybody document something. If you tell me to order a widget, I said, send it to me in writing.
Okay, now Barbara, this is an excellent point. I want you to hold that,
Okay.
because what you're doing, you're hopping to a solution.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, I'm starting from the beginning.
Okay.
To communicate.
Oh, well, problem, I'm sorry, okay, very good. All right, so let's hold that thought, because that will come in handy later on down the road. So, we've looked at our customers now. As you're defining your process, the next step would be then, we've got the output who we're providing it for. How do we do that? What are the steps that we do to create that output? So this would be, we did a crumble, we received the paper, we crumbled it, we rolled it, we teared it, we tossed it. And then we had the output. Those were the key steps involved. The next question might be, what do we need? Does anybody know what the next question might be?
Who were the
Yes,
suppliers?
excellent. So what would the inputs be? What might we use to create this output? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to click. So we had the paper. In that case, it may have been information in the case. Think of your process and your operations, what it may have been.
Who supplied the information?
Exactly. The next question would be, who supplied the information?
Boy, we seem like shills, don't we?
Yeah, you're perfect, yeah. So who did supply? Who would you say is the suppliers?
Gina supplied it.
Yeah.
What is the need of the customer?
Okay, and remember we had, just like we had internal customers, we also had internal suppliers. I was both a customer, you were both a customer and a supplier, so depending on what, where you were in that process, so internal suppliers. So this is known in the industry, it's called a SIPOC, which is Supplier Input Process Output Pull, or as Steve lovingly calls it, an octopus.
Piss.
Yeah. Because that's the way, that's the way you started.
Let's watch that language there.
All right.
Okay.
So if you look at it laid out in a flow diagram format, you can see, this is an example. when you design flow diagrams, they don't have to, there's no rigid standard guidelines, things you have to follow. I like them horizontal, you can do them vertical, you can do them, whatever it is. A standard convention is your start stop is to have the circle things and to have your activities in the boxes, and then I use swim lanes, these are called swim lanes, to identify the participants, who's performing which activities. And you'll notice the key thing is as you go down each of the activities, each of those steps along the way adds some additional value to the process. Is there a question? No. Okay. Now, one of the things though, if you remember, those that were observing, if you observed our process, we had something else going on here. We had the ball was dropped quite a few times, right? And this is a decision node. So we had these activities involved. When they dropped it, they had to retrieve the drop. Now these are known as the non-value adding activities. They didn't do anything to enhance that ball. They were wasted time. Now this concept of value and non-value, it's a very important concept that I want to take a little time and talk about.